Welcome. This is the Weekly Pint, the show that is not a show. It's a live stream. It's more than anything else, especially the way it seems to be panning out, an excuse for me to try things that I wouldn't try otherwise. More new technology and things like that probably should have been well tested before I decided to go live to the universe here on Facebook, but whatever. So if this sounds bad, please, on the chat, let me know so that I can try to fix it on the fly. This week is, it's a good week. This week is preparing for this week is going to be the busy week, but leading up to this, it's been nice and calm and easy. I had a show, which is live now on everything, down at Off Track, or down at Dunlap Cafe, to talk to Off Track, which is one that I've been wanting to get done for a really long time. So I was excited to get down there. David and Dave, the Daves, I guess is how you could put it, were absolutely fantastic to spend a few minutes with me down there and to drink a couple beers and talk about who they are and kind of what makes Off Track special, I guess, especially in a city like Cincinnati, where there's a whole bunch of things that are already really special happening. It's hard to do something different. So they are definitely doing that, and I think they're going to set a few little trends. Well, trends probably isn't the right word. They're going to set an example, I guess, of things that you can do and you can do differently that for a long time people didn't think about. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what waves, I guess, that creates in Cincinnati beer. So if you don't know, if this is your first time tuning in, this is the Weekly Pint. It's a live stream. It is kind of the glue that holds together my other podcasts, which is Cincy Brewcast, where we talk about Cincinnati beer, and Drinking with the Gnome, where we talk about all the other aspects of drinking here in Cincinnati. This kind of fits in between all of that and gives me an excuse to just sit downstairs and have a beer. We also talk about my blog, which is thegnarlygnome.com. You can see it on your screen. I assume if you found this, you probably follow me on Facebook, so you probably know what all of that is already, but I should probably talk about it anyways, just to get in the habit of being a better podcaster, I guess. I need to focus more this year about improving some of those things that are going on. If you want to take part in the conversation, you can always just type into the little comments there on Facebook, I guess, and I get that real time. Or if you want to be really crazy, you can call in, and you can call 567-70-DRINK, which is 567-703-7465, and that comes right here into the studio. And in theory, I can pipe you right in, and you can be on the show. So there's that. So yeah, this week we talked to Off Track and drank some of their beers. I am impressed with what they're doing. I think that for a small brewery, they're not tiny. They're 5 barrels, which is kind of, to me, a normal size for a quote unquote neighborhood brewery at this point. They're doing some really fun stuff. Candidly, I worry about a place that is opening without a tap room. Luckily, they've kind of partnered up with the Dunlap Cafe to get an unofficial tap room, I guess. But it'll be interesting to see how that pans out and how people kind of react to it. If people, every time I go to the Dunlap, there's lots of people drinking Hootie Delight and Miller High Life and things like that. So that's a unique hurdle, I guess, that they have to overcome, and they have to get people to drink their beer. But hopefully, if you find your way down there, you drink some of their beer instead of just the other cheap beer that's there. Marco, how are you? Welcome to the Weekly Pint. Please, if this sounds horrible, let me know, because I'm trying again something a little bit different with the setup here. However, I finally learned my lesson, and I do have the computer hardwired in finally, so we have really great internet speed this week that should not crap out on us like it did a couple weeks ago. So I guess that's an improvement. Also, here in studio, I still have not got any sound treatment up yet, more than what I already had. And Marco, you've been in studio, you know the sound treatment that is already up. But that's not done yet, but I did get some other things, and I don't know how inside baseball you want to get with it, but some new shock mounts and stuff for some microphones to help kind of cut down on table noise. That's as loud as it'll get when you bang on the table. So there's that. What are you guys drinking tonight? Hopefully you've got a beer open in front of you, because that makes all of this more fun for everybody involved. I dug into to the main beer fridge, which is the stuff that keeps getting overlooked for the things that I quote unquote have to drink for various reasons. And I'm drinking some 50 West Trees of Tahoe because I had a couple left in there that I feel like are getting kind of old. It doesn't taste old, but so the cough is pretty much gone. I still have some like weird sinus issues. My ears are almost not clogged up anymore. It's been miserable. I feel like luckily I'm not the only one that's been sick. I feel like there's been like everybody in the universe has been sick lately. So I know it's not something I did wrong. Although it could say that with how little sleep that I've been getting for the last, I don't know, 3 years, maybe that has something to do with it. I wish I could say that would improve, but it probably won't with the addition to the family coming in May. This weekend is my toddler. It's her birthday, Valentine's Day, so she turns 3. That's going on in my life. That'll be fun. We're doing it at a brewery though, her birthday party, because we discovered that is the best place to rent event space is at a brewery. And I mean, I guess I could say where we're going to be. We're going to be at Westside. If anybody's there, say hi. What else has been going on? So today on the blog, I wrote about MadTree, and you can see it on the screen there. They partnered up with this 1% for the Planet network, I guess, organization, network, nonprofit. I was not familiar with the organization before the press release today, but I kind of read into it a little bit today, and I'm really liking what they do. They kind of provide the Patagonia, the guy that started Patagonia, started this organization to encourage companies who are part of this network to donate at least 1% of all of their profits, I guess, to helping the environment and to improving the sustainability and all of that jazz, which is something that I think we need to pay a little bit more attention to than we do. MadTree's always been really good about things like that. I'm sure you noticed that around town they have the PackTech recycling stations set up, so you can drop off those little plastic 6-pack carrier guys, and they will then send them to MadTree, and MadTree will recycle them, because they're not just recyclable. You can't just throw them in your recycling bin, which a lot of people that I've talked to were surprised about that. But so things like that, MadTree has always done. The idea of really owning the loving the outdoors and the sustainability and that kind of stuff. I feel like a light bulb went off in the last couple years with them, and they kind of all of a sudden kind of figured themselves out. It was always there. They've always kind of been that way, but it's definitely been highlighted in these last couple of years, and this is a really, 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 really great way for them to do it, and something that's new and unique here in town. Everybody who knows me know how much of a Zane Lamprey fan I am, and his new company Adventure is very similarly focused. They for every purchase that you make from them, they plant 3 trees, and so it's kind of on that same vein of and enjoying the world around us. Because if you're going to make beer, you want a world to exist where people can drink beer instead of destroying the planet that we live on. Not to go on a a horribly political tangent. I guess um, like taking care of the environment isn't really a political idea. I don't care what side of the coin you fall on. Nobody wants to destroy the planet. So get Zane there for a show. I'm definitely working on it with this new setup. I could do it now. We could do like a phone interview or a Skype interview or something. But I really want to do it face to face. He is doing a tour this summer, like a comedy tour around the country, and depending on timing, of course, I will definitely be going to wherever he is close. I don't think he's stopping in Cincinnati, though. I don't know for sure, but just the little bit that I've heard, it looks like he's doing Louisville, Indiana, and then Columbus. But if he goes to Columbus and it's not when I have a infant, yeah, I'll go to that. Ideally, he would come here to Cincinnati, and that makes my life easier. But the world is not about me, from what I've learned in these last few years, I guess. But yeah, and I will definitely be pushing really hard to get Zane on a show, all of my shows in the near future. Definitely on Drinking with the Gnome. I think there's a lot that we could talk to him about, but I think it'd be even more fun to get him here in town and get him out drinking somewhere and get an interview that way. But whatever. If I could just get him for an interview, it would be all that I ask for. Oh, what else? The blog. I talked a little bit about Cincy Brewing Company. I do have to say in the article, I said that I reached out to them and they didn't get back to me. Well, they did get back to me right after I put the article up, which, okay. The response was that the email that they have listed everywhere goes to one of their partners who is currently in the military serving overseas, I think was the way it was worded. So they just didn't get it. But what's up with them? So they, I know I heard from a lot of people that Jason from Queen City Brewing Company was going to be brewing for them. So I reached out to him. He said he is not, but he's been consulting with them. So I wanted to get that out there a little bit and then also talk about the beer. They've started contract brewing with Wooden Cask to start getting some other beer on their taps because they still have those 3 original beers. Unfortunately, I still don't have all of the details filled in on kind of what their long-term plans are, but hopefully once their whole team is back together again, I will get them on the show and we'll talk to them on Cincy Brewcast and talk about kind of who they are and what they're doing and what their plans for the future are. They've had a little bit of a rough start here with but I think the way I worded it was parting ways with their previous head brewer, which if you've read any of my stuff, you kind of know that backstory a little bit, or if you just exist here in Cincinnati and kind of follow all of the brewery drama, everything that was going on there. So I read about that. That was late last week. Late last week, I also talked about this new ales, New Cincinnati Brewery was the title of it. They're really easy to make fun puns with because new. So that's the owners, their names kind of spell out new. So they went with that. They're up in Middletown, and a lot like Off Track, do not have a tap room. And I think that also like Off Track, although they have plans for a tap room, there's always drama, Justin. You know that. They have plans for a tap room, but it is kind of longer term ideas. They are just going to distribute and just kind of go production, which sounds terrifying to me. But again, I exist in this world a little bit differently than a lot of people do, and the business side is not something that I live in. So I don't know the financials of how it all works, but it seems very difficult to me to just try to get your beer on tap places. But what do I know? I've been surprised before. So, Justin, what are you drinking? If you missed it, I'm drinking Trees of Tahoe, and it's really, really good. Although, again, I've talked a little bit on this, a live stream about this. The difficulty of doing something like this by yourself is that you don't actually get to drink the beer during the show. Like at the very beginning, I'll crack it open and I'll get a few swigs down, but then during the actual like live stream here, I have to keep talking or else there's just silence because there's not somebody else here to talk while I'm drinking. So I can't even take a drink of my beer. So it's not nearly as fun as it should be. Is it the weekly pint if I pour my High Life in a glass? I think that if you're drinking High Life, you should always be drinking it out of a bottle. Is my hot take on it. I don't even think you should drink it out of cans. There's something about High Life that it belongs in a bottle. High Life was one of my first beer memories. I will say that my grandpa on my dad's side, that was his drink, was High Life, and I can still remember that first sip of High Life and the taste that I have in my head, and I can still replicate that flavor and that memory. If I mow the grass or something, I have to get really like hot, like do some kind of extreme activity outdoors or something. I have to get really hot and really sweaty, and then come inside and crack open some kind of a light beer. It works with other things other than High Life. I can crack open a Hootie Delight or something, and that first like ice cold sip when you're sweaty, still like there's something about that brings me right back to that first sip of beer, and it's nice every once in a while to go back to that. But I can't even tell you the last time I had a High Life. Maybe I'll get some High Life for a future episode of either Drinking with the Gnome or the Weekly Pint. But again, it's not as fun if I get it for this show because I don't get to drink. All right, I need a sip, so you guys are gonna have to deal with some silence. I could play some music of some kind. Let's see here. Something that here you can just listen to the theme music. We'll do that. There. How about that? I need a some kind of drinking sound effect. This new this new mixing board makes all that really easy, so I could do that. I can even change my voice on the fly. From the beer fridge. I can do that now. Oh, that's everything's in stereo in my head too, and it normally isn't, so that sounds really weird. I'll provide some Hootie for our next show. We should do that. We should do some kind of a light beer taste test or something. We did that. God, it's been a long time. We did when we were in studio. Hang on, I'm going to try to look it up while I'm talking. I can't do a lot at the same time. Okay, so Volume 1, Episode 35 of Cincy Brewcast from November 16th of 2015. We were in studio with Gamel Niji from Rivertown, and we did, this one was called The Infamous One with Light Beer and Hot Dogs. This was back when Mike Cisneros named all of our episodes. And we drank Bud Light, Miller Light, Natty Light, excuse me. Let's see, Bud Light, Miller Light, Natty Light, Coors Light, Burger Light, and Hootie Delight on the show, where we just tried all of them and commented on what makes them similar or what makes them different. I don't know if we actually said which one we liked better. And then we argued about if a hot dog is a sandwich, which it's not. I did a really big taste test like that, similar to that, but with a lot more beers, just with my family one time, and we probably had we probably had 10 or 15 different light beers that we drank, and we we did a double blind where one person poured them all and then labeled them, and somebody came in and changed the labels and then took notes on that, and it was interesting. Busch Light was my favorite out of that taste test. So I don't know what that says about me, but I guess I like Busch Light. So yeah, if you want to hear the infamous one with light beer and hot dogs, go back to Volume 1, Episode 35, which I can't guarantee is it sounds any good because that was a really long time ago. Actually, let's see if no, you won't get sound out of this. Although I can do it from my phone here. Let's do that instead. You won't see what I'm doing, but I am pulling up the episode, and we'll just hear what the sound sounds like. Because this is the Weekly Pint, we just do what we want. There's no rules on this show. What did I say? Volume. I guess I can do it this way. Sorry, bear with me. I don't know why you guys listen to this rambling. Volume 1. It's a lot of episodes. I think we're somewhere around like, I don't know, 250 or something like that. At this point, I believe. Oh, hang on. So yeah, this is the actual show. I usually listen to let's see, just not send beers at the Grand here this week. Thanks, man. Absolutely.
And hello again, everyone. My name is Mike Cisneros.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy light beers out there.
To Cincy Brewcast, the voice of Cincy Craft, a special edition tonight.
So no, the sound's not bad. Well, we're all off mic.
Also talking a number of calories. That's what
that's,
makes a light beer.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not the ABV always, but
this was when we were in studio at Mike's house too. So our in-studio shows were a little more together, I guess, is a good way to put it. We had a little better setup than we had on the road. There was a good chunk of time there where our road shows were just pure chaos, and the sound isn't always great. So yeah, I should definitely revisit all of the light beers. Chris, you're right. I don't know that I want to. There's a lot of flavors though too. Like that's what makes it hard. Is like you could go, Natter Days, and you talk about the Bud Light Lime and all that stuff. But then how do you make the choice about which one you throw into the taste test versus another one, instead of just the straight up like normal just light beer, instead of. But even that, there's like these super light ones and kind of light ones, and I don't know, man. It's tough. I'll bring them up. Oh Lord, we'll do it sometime. That's kind of the fun of having a studio again, is that we can do shows like that and just kind of play around, get some people in there, and you don't have to be in a tap room talking about their beer and talking about what's going on. Not that I don't love doing that too, but sometimes just getting in studio and just playing around and just drinking beer is what it's about. I mean, most of you guys have taken a part in that at some point. Just the joy of just getting together and making a brewcast about nothing, and sometimes that's more fun than anything else. So I need to do more of that. All of them. How many light beers exist on a shelf right now, though? That's it's not even possible, and it's always changing. You could look, one day and have 75 of them, and then the next day there's 4 more new flavors of something. I don't know. Got to have just the straight up light beer so that they all kind of taste the same too, and that's half the fun of it, is trying to figure out if you can actually guess about what everything is, and then it kind of messes with your head too. The things that you think you don't like, you find out you do, and well, like is a relative term there, but and the things that you think you hate, all of a sudden you can't identify when it's next to everything else. I'll bring my blonde ale. That does not count. That is not a light beer. You have to water it down. If you water it down, then it will count. I've heard that that's literally how they make Bud Light. So the Bud Light Platinum is just Bud Light before they water it down. That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's actually true, but it's the same recipe just before it gets diluted. I'd probably be ashamed of how many I can guess. I bet you would not be as good at it as you think you are. Just from my experience, in the 2 times that I've done it, it was very difficult. But maybe you drink more crappy light beer than I do. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that, but I drink a lot of crappy light beer sometimes. Part of what I do on the drinking with the gnome side of things is I go to a lot of bars, so like a lot of neighborhood bars, a lot of dive bars. It's all part of this other side of the gnarlygnome.com that doesn't really exist yet, but is being built. And so I go to a lot of bars, and sometimes that's the only thing you have is crappy light beer. So I do drink a lot of crappy light beer, I guess. Yeah, I wish I could show you guys some of the things that we're working on. I say we very loosely. The things that I'm working on for the gnarlygnome.com. There is a entire section of the website that's all just places to drink around Cincinnati. Not just breweries and distilleries. Are the distilleries you can kind of see pretty clearly, but bars are. I guess there is a section there now. You can click on start to kind of see that there is something there. But that's all you can see right now. That's not even scratching the surface of what's going on. And what I tend to do on here, there's a couple different big projects that I'm working on. One of them being the bar side of things, one of them the distilleries, obviously, one of them being some cider stuff, the news. You see that scroll bar on the top with all of the industry news. I tend to work on something for a really long time, building it up before you really see that it's there. It's there, but you just can't see it yet. I need a gnarly shirt. You can get a gnarly shirt. You just click on shop right there. I would give you one, but I don't even have any right now, in stock. Yeah, here's all my shirts right now. I'm working on some other ones, like this one. Be gnarly, drink local. What else do I have? I need to adjust my prices too. I had a pretty good order the other day, and a very large order. And then when it was all said and done, I think I made like $6 on it, and realized that this is ridiculous for what the goal is. I didn't even pay for half of the podcast hosting that month. So a little bit of behind the scenes, if anybody doesn't know. So the website, you have to have a place that hosts your website, and that's one whole thing. But then all of the podcast episodes are hosted on a whole different place, so that it works, so that it doesn't bog down the website and make it so it doesn't work. I give you $5 for one. No, I can't do $5. They cost me way more than $5. I'll get you one sometime, I promise. So one of the things that would love to do, whenever people have been on the show a certain amount of times, they get some kind of special t-shirt or a hat or something like that. We joked about a gold jacket a long time ago. It won't be a gold jacket, but maybe a t-shirt. Although you're a few episodes away from being in the elite club of appearances. There's people that have been on the show like 15 times, and I think you're at 3. So you gotta make some more appearances. Well, I think that about does it for Weekly Pint this week, right? This week, Brewcast. Well, I mean, so I kind of hinted at this at the top of the show, but this is diving into the first of some really crazy schedules for the show because the baby is coming in 3 months. So I'm trying to kind of get ahead of schedule so I can have some shows, quote unquote, in the can, so that there's no downtime for you guys, even though there will probably be a few weeks where I can't really do much of anything. So it won't look like it to you guys, but this week I'm recording several shows. The first of which that you'll hear will probably be Higher Gravity. I'm recording them later this week, and I think I have to look at the calendar. Yeah, that show should post next Monday. The week after that, this is really confusing. The week after that, the 24th, is I have to double check to make sure it's when it's posting, but the Braxton episode in theory will post on the 24th. The week after that, March 2nd, is Wooden Cask, which I am recording tomorrow. So that's to give you an idea. I'm recording all of those shows this week. So I'm recording tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, which should put me a little bit ahead. And then I think I've got a studio show, which still isn't nailed down yet. I have a show about wet hops. We're going to talk about some wet hop beers and about hop growing and that kind of stuff. That's coming up, and hopefully that day I'll get some Drinking with the Gnome recorded too. There's a lot of stuff going on, so there's that and all of that. So if you have any ideas for shows that you want to make happen, you can always, it's Chris. It's a boy. He's yeah. My wife loves buying baby baskets. I don't even know what that means. Okay, I'll take a baby basket. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Does that mean like a basket you put the baby in, or like a basket with like beer in it to say, hey, I'm sorry you had a baby, here's some beer? I don't know, but yeah, it's a boy. Yeah, we're excited. As my daughter, my 3-year-old likes to say, she'll tell people, she's like, hey, my little sister's gonna be a boy. So that's gonna be fun, trying to figure out what she really understands and what she doesn't. So there's that. It's going to be crazy, but there should not be any downtime to everybody else as far as definitely Cincy Brewcast goes. There will probably be at least a week, maybe 2 weeks, where there is no weekly pint, although I don't know if my wife is still on the stream, but if she is, I'm joking about this. I'm debating bringing the laptop and a microphone to the hospital so that I can go sit in the cafeteria and do a half-hour stream. But that's just a joke. I would never even think about actually doing that. Right? Because the baby is it's scheduled because my other one was a C-section, so they're going to take him, and should be May 4th, which is a Monday. So right on Weekly Pint Day. Yes, we definitely do. We need to do an episode with all of you guys up at Fig Leaf, preferably before May, because that's when all hell breaks loose. Just let me know. Shoot me an email, or I'll shoot you an email. We'll get it set up sometime. Thank you guys for listening. If, like I said, if anybody else has any ideas for shows or questions, comments, thoughts, opinions, you can always email me at cincybrewcast@gmail.com or gnome@thegnarlygnome.com, or any other email you have for me. It all comes to me. Or call the drunk line, leave me a message, 567-70-DRINK. You can always do that too. If it's good, I'll play it on the air. If it's bad, I'll play it on the air. Who knows? And yeah, like I said, we'll be back next week with all kinds of shows. If you like what I do and you want to help, the easiest and best way is to either get on there and buy a shirt or a hat or something, or you can go to thegnarlygnome.com/support, and that'll take you to the the Patreon page, and you can support that way and become one of the Nomies. That's what I call the people on there. And it helps more than you guys know. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of all of this stuff that I do. It means a lot. I don't know what I would be doing on Monday nights if I wasn't sitting here talking to you. So thank you very much. I love you guys all. I appreciate you. Know that. See you next week.